We zoom into the electronic engine control switches. Make sure that the switches are in normal position and the guards are closed. We also make sure that alternate lights are extinguished. Standby power set to auto. Utility power switches to on. Power switch, make sure it's on and the guard is closed. Bus tie switches set to auto. Generator control switches set to on. Make sure that generator disconnect drive lights are illuminated. APU selector, switch to start. Then we will switch to the secondary ICAS and you can watch the APU startup procedure. It takes a little while, so you have to be patient. When we see on the primary ICAS message APU running, then we turn the APU generator switches to on. Okay, APU is running. We have the APU generator lights available, and we turn the switches to on. Then you go to the electronic flight bag and disconnect GPU, close cargo doors and cabin doors. Then you go to the secondary ICAS, select the door display and make sure the doors are closed. Demand pump selectors off. Hydraulic system fault lights illuminated. Demand pumps pressure lights illuminated. Engine pump switches on. Engine fire switches in. Bottle A discharge and bottle B discharge lights extinguished. APU bottle discharge light extinguished. APU fire switch in. Cargo fire discharge light extinguished. Cargo fire arm switches off. Forward and aft lights extinguished. Engine start switches in. Fuel jettison selector off. Fuel jettison nozzle valve switches off. Fuel jettison valve lights extinguished, and all 4 fuel crossfeed valve switches on. And the last thing, we need to close guards on the fuel crossfeed valve switches. All fuel pump switches off. Engine anti-ice switches off. Wing anti-ice switch off. Window heat switches on. Windshield wiper selectors off. Landing light switches off. Runway turn off light switches off. Taxi light off. Yaw damper switches on. Outflow valve switch open. Outflow valve manual switches illuminated. ECS panel set. Pack switches on. Left and right isolation valve switches on. APU bleed error switch on, and engine bleed error switches on. Beacon light switch set to off. Navigation light switch on. Strobe light off. Wing light switch off. Flight director switch both on. Lower ICAS screen, select to status. Minimum selector, set altitude reference. Meter switch, set as needed. Barometric reference selector as needed. Barometric selector set to local altimeter settings. In our case 2982, it's already set. VOR NDB switches is gonna be set to whatever nav aid we want to use. In our case, I'm gonna set them to VOR. Mode selector as needed. In our case is map. Center switch as needed, and range as needed. Traffic switch as needed. Weather radar switch off. Map switches as needed. Auto throttle mode blank. Roll mode takeoff go around. Pitch mode takeoff go around. Flight director status checked. Landing gear lever down. Auto brake selector to rejected takeoff. Display brightness, which was already set. Primary ICAS engine indicator control. Second ICAS engine control and verify. Radio tuning panel, if you fly on VATSIM, select it to 1 to 2.8. Seat belts auto. Weather radar panel adjusted and set, and transponder set. Flight director switches both on, verify. Auto throttle arm switch on. Bank limit selector auto. Autopilot disengage bar up. ISFD check. Speed brake lever, make sure it's not in on position. Thrust levers closed. Flaps up. Parking brake set to on. Fuel control switches off. Audio control panel as needed. Cancel and recall button. Press and verify the messages. Stabilizer trim, make sure it's set and in green. And aileron and rudder trim set to 0.